Hi, I'm Seth Bloom with Bloom Legal Law Firm. We're a full-service law firm handling mostly personal injury and criminal defense. And one thing I want to focus on today is talking about bonds. So what does a bond mean? So I'll just kind of go through a hypothetical here and maybe that'll help explain it. So let's say someone gets a DWI, driving while intoxicated. They're arrested, and sometimes the booking process takes a long time, so you can't find them in the system until they've been booked for a while. So let's say they get arrested at 2:30 a.m., but they end up sitting in the car for 2 hours. They go back to the testing site for an hour or two. The sheriff takes a dinner break and is gone for a couple hours. And I'm joking, but I've been practicing for 15 years, and these are all the things that happen. So sometimes from the actual cuffs going on to actually being booked in jail could be 2 hours, but I've seen it to be 10 hours. So once they're in jail, what do? Well, what we do is we go in and see, well, what is the bond? Has a bond been automatically set? On a DWI case, sometimes they automatically set the bond. Other times, the bond isn't set. One thing we can do is we can try to reach a judge or a magistrate judge and have a bond set. Otherwise, the person will go to the next court date, could be that morning, could be that evening, and a judge will review the case and they will set the bond. And different things change the amounts of what a bond would be. So if you have no record, you've never been arrested before, and you live in the city where you're arrested, so let's say John Doe got a DWI, he lives a mile from the court, he's never been arrested, they're going to probably set a low bond. There's probably a good likelihood that you will show up to court and handle the situation. But let's say you commit a more violent crime and you have a record and you're a Swiss resident and you have 3 passports. Well, there's a big risk of flight there. So they may increase the bond. They may not let you out with certain kinds of bonds. So there's a lot of different variables that are how bonds are set. So John Doe gets his DWI, he's arrested, 6 hours later he's booked. You look him up on inmate query and you see his bond, no bond set. So if no bond set, you can't do anything, you can't get him out. You could call a lawyer and we could try to get a bond set, and that's something we do all the time. Or the next morning, he sees the judge and the judge says, $5,000 bond. So what does a $5,000 bond mean? What that means is you have to physically go down to the court, and this basically works the same in every parish or every county if you're outside of Louisiana, but it's the same theory. So you have to actually go down to the court with $5,000 in cash and probably some processing fees, and you pay the $5,000. And the court keeps that $5,000 until this person's case is completely finished. Most people can't afford to just put down $5,000, so they use something called a bail bondsman. A bail bonding company basically is a surety or a surety bond for assuring that this person will show up to court. So if it's a $5,000 bond set by the court, then the bail bondsman will usually charge 10 to 13%, and that will be their fee, and then they will send a surety bond to the court saying, we vouch for that person, that person will show up to court. If not, you have to forfeit that $5,000. So in a lot of instances, people may be able to come up with $5,000, but for instance, if your bond was $100,000 and you had to come up with $13,000, that's certainly probably a situation where you have to use the bondsman. Now, you lose the money with the bondsman. You lose that 10 to 13%, so it can get really expensive. One thing I can do as a lawyer is, if you're okay with the person sitting in jail for a little while, we can try to reach a judge. We can try to get them to set a low bond. We can also try to get them to set a no bond and release them if it's a non-violent crime. You know, the best thing to do is to call someone like myself, a criminal defense lawyer. We give free consultations, and we can really help you find or explain to you why your loved one or your family member or your friend has been arrested. So if you have any questions and you know someone that's been arrested, we're happy to help. We're right here in downtown New Orleans. I'm Seth Bloom with Bloom Legal. Give us a call, 504-599-9997. Thanks so much.